Are we filming? Yes, we are. So this is what I've been using this week. As you know, I chop and change. I rotate my binders, typically after a week or two. And what I've been using for my day-to-day diary stroke to-do list is this Microfile mini binder. Let me just remind you of how small it is. So it's as you can see, it's just over 90 millimeters if you include the strap, but the strap is sort of very tight to the binder, which I quite like. I'm not really a fan of straps, but as far as straps go, this one is perfect, really. And then the height is just around about 11.6 millimeters in new money. Thickness, well, I believe it has got 11 millimeter rings. Let me just find a good start page, because I've taken out the divider prematurely. I normally have a divider in the middle, but here we go. And these rings are, I think they're 11 millimeters, but let's just double check. They are, yeah, 11 millimeters. So very similar to, as an example, my Guildford Mini Extra Slim. And the Guildford Mini Extra Slim is slightly shorter, but as far as width is concerned, it is shorter still. And there is an interesting point to make here, because these are hand cut A7 sheets, and they're exactly A7 because they are I cut 8 of these out of a single sheet of A4 because I use a lot of paper and it's cheaper than buying inserts. And if you put these in I would say this is perhaps my favourite binder, because it's the fabled Guildford Mini Extra Slim. Lots of problems with it, which I won't go into, but the actual design, the actual form factor is fantastic. The A7 sheets tend to stick out a little bit more than the actual shape of the form of the actual binder itself, which some people don't like. This is actually perfect. If I close this, you can see that they are perfect. Some of you will use dividers. You could potentially use dividers here. Maybe top dividers would work, maybe. But let me just get back to where I was. There we go. So, excuse me. So, as you know, I have a format whereby, let me just get to the middle here. So I work from the middle, because that helps with flatability. If you've got a bit of weight here, weight of paper here, and a weight of paper here, and it's also easier to take a page out or move them around if you wanted to do that. So I work from the middle, and also as you can deduce, you've got these really sharp edges in many binders. So if you tried to write from the beginning, you'd have to have some sort of dashboard here to lean on, because otherwise your pen would just pierce the paper here. But with maybe 40 sheets of A7 here, another 40 here, because the maximum for an 11 millimeter ringed binder tends to be about 80 sheets. In my case, I'm using Clairefontaine 50 GSM paper. You might be able to squeeze a few in, maybe up to 90, 95, 100, but I max out at 80 because I don't want to damage the rings and it's easier to turn the pages. So this is how I work, as you know. To-do lists in a grid here, and I work from the center and going backwards. And here, rather than have a diary that specifically dated, like a week on 2 pages or something like that, all I do is I write the date. So let's have a look. So let's say I was going to do something here. So it's 20th of Feb today, so it's Thursday, 20th of Feb. No point in writing the year. So there we go, job done. And what am I doing today? Record video. Okay. And I just add on this side all these things that I have to do, effectively appointments. These are to-do lists that aren't date dependent. They're just things I really need to do as soon as possible. So I write them here in this grid. And if there's a task that I really need to do as a priority, this is all I do. And I know, task 2, it needs to be, that is a priority. And this is how I do it, because typically I might only have one colour of pen. So this is on the road, out with me all the time, in my pocket. Typically one pen, but I might have a spare pen or even a pencil. You can see there's a pencil here, but I'll talk about that later. But this is how I roll, and this works very, very well for me. So I've got up to 40 appointments, and up to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 times 40, do the maths, that is a lot of to-dos. And if you run out of space doing this, then you're prevaricating. You're spending more time jotting down the tasks than actually doing them. So you never run out of paper, never run out of paper. So I've been using this for about 10 days now with my Microfile. It was made in England, as you can see. Microfile, fine leather, England. I don't know whether it's fine leather, but it's well made. It's well made. The corners are done nicely. It's got this Microfile stamped fabric here, which is quite nice. Nothing to write home about, but there we go. It isn't actually Krauss rings, but they work reasonably well. I have no complaints. They're on a par with the quality of filofax branded rings of a certain era, like my Guildford Mini Extra Slim. They're fine, although they can be a bit delicate, as I found out with 1 or 2 binders, with the rings breaking off. Actually breaking off. This one, I mean, I don't use all my binders every week, but I just happen to be in this one as it's part of my rotation, and I'm quite impressed. In fact, I bought this some time ago, but I haven't used it in anger until now, and I can report that I'm absolutely fine with this. I'm absolutely fine. It does have some pockets if you want to fit credit cards in there, and there's some here as well, and a pocket. Doesn't have a back pocket, but it's all the better for it, because as you can see, it has pretty good flatability. It's almost perfect at the beginning, but as you know, I like to work from the middle with this particular type of rationale, and so from a functional perspective, this ticks all the boxes. I don't have to use a third hand to keep it flat. I am okay with this rough and ready system I have with A7 hand cut sheets. Works very, very well, and the actual function of it is, I mean, I prefer something without a pen loop and without a securing strap, but you know, this is actually pretty good. If I close this, there's not much of a protuberance there, so if I put it in a pocket, there's less likelihood of it snagging on my pocket, either putting it in a pocket or opening it. This is always a big problem with many filofax mini binders, but this is very, very neat and tidy. This is really, really neat and tidy. There's nothing fancy about it. It's just 2 bits of leather sewn together and a reasonable strap. This is quite old, Not quite sure how old, but it is old. But the popper cover is perfectly all right. And although the actual strap is not is no way near wide enough to put even a filofax pen, it's clearly designed to tightly fit a pencil, and I like that. I really like that. It's not that I really use a pencil, but do you know what? I have a small penknife on my keyring, which we're allowed to use in the UK. It's handy to have a pencil there, isn't it? Handy to have a pencil. So, seeing as there is a pen loop there, and seeing as this holds it nice and tightly, it's good enough. I mean, obviously, I use typically a Pilot G2 with the 1mm broad nib or point, as it were, but this feels very, very good. And I know that filofax is a much more common, well-known brand, but these microfile binders, if you can pick one up really cheaply, and the prices are going up. Prices are going up on eBay because people are like me, I'm afraid, but I say it how it is. When people talk about the quality of these vintage binders, it does increase the popularity of them. But I can't hide my light under a bushel. This is how it is. But in general, these microfile binders tend to go for less money than a filofax. Certainly, they go for a lot less than the fabled Guildford Mini Extra Slim, which always goes for incredibly high amounts when they surface on eBay. But this is actually, as a working tool, over the last few days, I found this to be very effective. I don't look at it and think, oh no, that's look at that. I'm using a microfile binder. I think when these were made, they were on a par. These were on a par with those made by Filofax back in the day, and they tend to stand up quite well. I particularly like the corners. They are arguably better made than the Filofax equivalent, and you know, I like them, and the leather feels good. There is some padding inside here. There's some made materials. Let's be clear about that. But do you know what? This has had some use, and it seems to have lasted. It seems to be up to the job in terms of wear and tear. I'm very happy with it. I mean, I'm going to change now. I don't know what I'm going to change to. Let's have a look. Let's see what I can pick for the next few days. I think I'm going to transition to my bridal leather plotter, because I've got the edges smoothed down so they're nice and smooth. So I'm going to transfer everything from here, my working mini binder, to my plotter, and then take it from there. It's very, very similar in size. Krauss rings, a little bit smaller because it doesn't have the pen loop. And I'm just, as you know, I'm rotating to, I think partly because that's the sort of person I am. I find it enjoyable to move from one binder to another. But anyway, that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to be moving in today to my plotter, although I've used it many times before. It's about time I started using my plotter for a week, given the fact it was quite a pricey thing. So I need to get my money's worth. But I'm going to do that now, and then I will report back maybe in a week or two and let you know how I got on. But suffice to say, I've really enjoyed my experience with this microfile. there's nothing to not like about it, in my opinion. Yeah, very, very happy with that. Anyway, thanks very much for watching. Until my next, let me just get this on, because this is one of the issues here. If you do have a pen loop here, the way it's constructed is it's a little bit tricky to secure. It's tight. It is tight. Look at that. So I have been using it with a pencil, even though I haven't used the pencil. Perhaps it would be a lot easier. I mean, let me take that pencil out. Now I'm not going to use it, and then you find that it is a lot easier to use. But I have persevered. I've persevered with the pencil, and I'm going to put it back in its box. Look at that. I'm down to, I don't know how many were in there to start with, but I'm down to my last Smithson pencil. But anyway, there we go. Thanks very much for watching. Until my next video, goodbye.